Welcome to another edition of Interruptions. I'm your host, Oda Smith. I have a friend on today. My backdrop, you see, and to the left of me, this beautiful woman of God. I've been knowing for a very long time. She knew me when I was much slimmer. Yes. Uh,
That's all
together,
our stories, so don't worry about
together,
it.
we help start and shape one of the churches here in the city of Atlanta, Total Grace Christian Center. I'm talking no other than anointed woman of God, a friend of mine, Teresa Pryor. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm doing good. It's good to see you.
Good to
Good to
good.
see
Hey,
you.
what they say? Good to be
Good
seen.
to be seen. That's right.
Good to
That's the
view.
answer.
Yeah,
Right. That's the answer rather than viewed.
good view, boy. I tell you.
Absolutely.
Hey, I don't even have this as a question, but just the fact of what I just said.
Mhm.
Wouldn't you be more relaxed if you was one of the disciples where you saw Jesus reappear, right? He came back and you was like, oh, okay, cool, cool. So, when it's my time, then okay, cool. You know, because
Really honest.
because if you think about it, they got something we don't
That's
get.
true. No, that's true.
They
That's
got a
true.
beloved one. They got the Messiah. They got the
Yeah.
Savior.
But
Uh,
what was so funny is that they didn't know they had that though. For a
well,
while,
yeah,
they didn't know
they
that
didn't
that's
know.
who they had amongst them
Well, they
until
didn't know
he,
when he showed up.
yeah,
Because he
yeah,
had to
yeah,
say, feel
yeah,
me, touch me, see me.
absolutely,
So they looking
absolutely,
at him like,
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely,
and
absolutely. So yeah.
and so to be able to, kind of have that, and then watch him ascend, you know, into
Hmm.
heaven, and rest assured knowing that you've been a follower of him, and you like, all right, within, when my time comes, then you know, I'm good, right?
Yeah, but
Or
that to me is that as you're saying that
mm,
it would probably be better for us because when you lose people, and you go through your grieving process, or when somebody dies, pass away, or whatever, um, we would have a different response probably than we do now. If that were if that was our situation, we should be anyway, because I mean that's what we living to live again,
right,
but we sometimes forget that, in our
yeah,
humanity,
yeah.
we just forget that
We,
sometimes, and
we
grief
forget
sometimes
either
will
way.
take over us.
Watch this. Either way, even if
Hmm.
somebody wasn't living for Christ, came back, a loved one you knew, and said, "Hey, girl, keep doing what you're doing. I made a mistake. I should have listened to you trying to get me saved." Either way, either way, it'll still work for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's just yeah. Only artists would bring it out like that. Okay.
Oh yeah, well, it just it's just I just always
Something to make you go, hmm.
well, yeah, but I just you and I share a similar story, and we'll get into that. Um,
Okay.
One of the first questions I want to ask you, because knowing you, you've always had such a sweet spirit. You've always, uh, been a nice person. Um, how hard is that to be that way when people take your kindness and for weakness? Like they take your kindness where they're trying to
Hmm.
get over or get something out of you, thinking that you're naive just because you're nice.
Well, I tell you, I did have to grow because it was a time that my niceness was naivety, and I had to grow to a place where I began to just kind of stand in my truth as to who I was and didn't mind speaking up.
Hmm.
I had this misconception of what servitude was,
Hmm.
and in having that misconception, I kept quiet a lot, and I didn't say, or some things possibly that I should have said. Just I mean, just noticing things or saying things or whatever. And I had to get to a point where, I spoke up for myself. Now listen, let me rephrase this because
Mm-hmm.
it's so weird. I ain't never had no problem talking.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never had no problem, saying what I needed to say. But what I realized as I grew older, I said it when it was convenient, or if I was in a peer on peer, I could speak my mind. But when it came to authority figures, I realized that I would cower down sometimes, and not in the spirit of not being of being respectful. I had to learn that it's more respectful to speak up than it is to keep quiet.
I'm still trying to.
So,
I'm still trying to balance that.
yeah, and so I mean, and that's difficult. And once I learned that lesson,
Mm-hmm.
I have found myself in positions where, because I've always been around leaders, men and women of God, people that other people may say, or people with some kind of authority.
Mm-hmm.
But God puts you in those positions because there's something that you bring to the table. There's
Right.
something that you got to say, something you got to do, or whatever. And so, for a long time, I served, but I kept quiet. But I realized that that is not the best in serving people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, once I learned to speak up, I saw God put me in some other situations, like where I had to really, really speak up. Right now, at the place where I'm working, when I first got here, I had been here. Let me see. I was once they hired me, I was here about 6 months and I had a stroke.
What?
And then, yeah, that was in 2022.
Hmm.
And after I was out, of course, I had to go out for a little while. When I came back, I might have been here about might have been back about 10 days, maybe 12. And I had the biggest scandal to we have a daycare here as well in this
Mm-hmm.
church. And so I am human resources for everybody. And we had a major something to go on in the daycare. And long story short, I ended up having to terminate the director. Well, unfortunately, the director was the pastor's wife.
Uh,
And
uh,
and it caused a lot of friction, and having to still push through that, every day. First of all, I was new; they just hired me, so they weren't gonna fire me because they had just hired me. And you can't, for a church administrator, that's a lot that we had to do to even get here.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, they wouldn't have fired me anyway because I was just doing my job. But it put a strain on the relationship of everybody. But what I knew
Mm-hmm.
was that God has sent me here because I probably would have been the only one that could do it. Because anybody else in this position, that's their first lady. I'm not a member here. That's their first
I know what
lady,
you
and
mean.
so for me, even though I did know her, it was easier for me to approach it and do what I needed to do, because weren't as close. I believe that I was sent here for it. Then when you know that, then you kind of you're able to stand in what you have to do. So even though I'm smiling, I'm laughing at everybody, laughing with everybody, still had to do my job.
Yeah.
But I think God knew He could trust me to do that at this point in my life, because He knew, I would speak up for it really for the betterment of the church and the betterment of the kingdom of God.
How is when you look back at your life from out growing up to where you are now? How do you look at how the things that you went through growing up now put you in a place, where you are? The love of your mother, um, just the way you grew up, and then you're looking at where you are now. You look back now and you say, "Okay, I ain't get it then, but I get it now."
Well, one of the things that I believe I believe in community. And
Hmm.
I think that comes from my family. The way I grew up, I was my mom and dad's only child. Then my mom had my brother 21 years later. So, but I grew up with my cousins.
Okay.
So we were all, and we were raised by our grandparents.
Okay.
So, and we were such a close, tight knit entity. That has spilled over kind of in everything that I do. So no matter where I go, I'm gonna find a community, I'm gonna find a tribe to pull together, in church, work, what whatever I'm doing. And so for me, that has been the key. Um, Everywhere I have gone, I'm always trying to relate to someone or pull them in, or
Mm-hmm.
or some kind of way create family,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe that that's like the core, and it helps me anyway do the things that I need to do. I like having the support. I like having the camaraderie,
Mm-hmm.
and so that for me has, and I didn't realize it. I'm in a school at Gamma Theological Seminary, and so they do. You have to do a whole lot of reflecting, and so as I have looked through my life, I look at how I've always had a community of people. And that community ended up really, I didn't realize I was doing that. But as I got older and I went through a couple of things, I went through, the loss of my mom. Well, I went through the first loss, the first big loss, I believe, was in 2008 when I lost my grandmother who raised me. And
That's
then
one security.
that was, huh?
I say
What'd you
that's
say?
that's one security. Your
Yeah.
grandma.
And that was my paternal grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Then my dad died 12 days later.
Ooh, another security.
Right. So we when we went up here to Donald Trumbull, they thought we had left something. Like we left something, we was come back to get it, and we would come back to talk about my dad who had just been there. But anyway, though that was a major blow. After that, I think the next thing probably, because I didn't have a lot of well, my next grandmother, my grandfather, paternal grandfather passed away in 2000 and wait, that he was 2008, 2008. Then my grandmother passed away in 17. My mom passed away in 2020. All of those were like that was just my foundation. Like that
Mm-hmm.
just, my mama, my grandma, was just like, I felt like a fish out of water once they
Mm-hmm.
found, I just was like, what? But it was my community that came alongside. My first, when I had the stroke, my mom had died. And I was like, she like if I gotta go through this, I want to go through it with my mom. I mean, I want my mama to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I missed my mother in that moment because I knew, that I used to call my mama's house the oasis, because that's
Okay.
where I would go to get away from everybody and everything. But I had created such good community that in each case, I didn't skip a beat. And I'm really grateful not only to my family, but to my community of friends just rallying around, because I'm single, I ain't got no husband, I ain't got no children. I just got a dog. And I don't say that like just, but I have a dog because that's my baby. But people moving, what do we need to do? Where do we need to go? What is this taken care of? Is this taken care of for? It just I believe so in community until it's just one of the things that I push. In one of the churches that I worked in, a young lady, I was on events ministry. This young lady joined the church, and I always tell people, when you join a church, also get connected in a ministry, because it makes, especially these a larger church, it makes your church seem smaller because
Right.
that's your family within a family. And so this young lady joined the events team, which I was over, and we might have gone out of town maybe a couple of weeks after she joined. But I always introduced myself. I give them my number, just all of that, and told her when we were meeting, all that. So we were in San Diego, California, because one of the ministers at that church had left and was starting his church, and we were up there for
Okay.
his first service. And of course, the time frame is different. The time zone, we
3
in different
hours.
time zones. So we had here a 7:30 service.
Mm-hmm.
And so my phone started ringing about 4 in the morning, because that was 7 o'clock here.
Mhm.
And I answered the phone, of course. I was like, "Is everything okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, I just want to know, can you have Pastor Smith pray for me today?" And I said yes. She told me she had a son that was going to be tried for murder on that Monday. He was
Wow.
in. She said, Miss Elder Teresa, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but he was. That's what happened. So, and I said, okay, okay, sure, yeah. So I hung up the phone with her, and I knew all the leaders were in California. I was like, what am I gonna do? But I got to his assistant
Mhm.
and I told him at the end of that service, right before he closed out, because I watched it, because I was like, please, 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 please call her up. So at the end of the service, he called her. He said, there is a lady. He didn't even know her name. He said, there's a lady here who needs me to pray for her because her son is being on he'll be on trial tomorrow. And I
Mhm.
heard her, she was in the back. That's me, that's me, that's me. And he said, okay. He said, come on up. Long story short, they prayed for her. And not only did they pray for her, she said, because I'm still in California,
Okay.
she said Monday when she got in the courtroom, there were
Mhm.
about 30 people from the church
Oh,
that
okay. Cool.
has shown up.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so what I said to her, I said, this is why I tell y'all all the time, you got to have a community. Because she felt like she was by herself. When in all actuality, she had a slew of people that were behind her. She had another family behind her. She was so grateful. And we don't want to even talk about that he got off. We won't even go there. But the whole purpose is finding you a community, and no matter where you are, even at work, you have people say, I ain't here to make friends. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's gonna be times when, and I'm not saying everywhere you go you gotta make a friend. Not necessarily, but you do have to. The Bible says first show yourself friendly, and
Yes.
so when you go, I think that is what. Well, when you say I'm kind, and
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's where it comes from. Just understanding needing a community. People, as I get older, I understand that people are a precious commodity, and it is a privilege and a blessing to have people to be in a relationship with people. Period.
How did you deal with, when your community, your foundation, your base left? When you like
Didn't
my
handle it well.
father, my father died in '96,
Mm-hmm.
and I really didn't get a chance to grieve
Mm-hmm.
because then I found out I was going to be a father 2 weeks later.
Mm.
So
Oh
yeah,
wow!
yeah,
Wow!
I
Yeah.
it messed me up. Um, and
Yeah.
then first and then my grandmother, and I never
Mm-hmm.
forget when I got the call about my grandmother passing. Right,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I went, but it was like early in the morning. You know how you get a call. You feel like, okay, okay, I call you when I get up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Went back to sleep. My dream was, and it's funny because I can still remember this dream. I
Wow!
dreamed then that when I went back to sleep, I dreamed every single person that meant something to me died.
Wow!
Yeah. So I woke up. My wife would tell you, I woke up crying,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and my aunt had to pray when I got up. She had got my aunt on the phone. She had to pray with me,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then in 2017, when my mother passed, suddenly my mom went in the hospital
Wow.
Tuesday, died Friday.
Wow.
So it was a gut, a gut,
Mm-hmm.
and my
It's
wife,
that 1-2 punch.
yeah, and my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother were, they gang up on me. It was tag team. I'm just saying, it was tag. It was making me miss my father even more. I was like,
Right, right,
man,
because you ain't got
oh,
nobody there on your
man, ain't
side.
nobody help me out of that. I got two daughters. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh my
golly.
goodness. Oh, I'm
So
so
three
sorry.
sisters. I'm like, ah. So for me,
Uh-huh.
I had to battle. I wasn't depressed, but I was going there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so for you, how did you, when all those things start to happen, and then you having what is it, a stroke, a heart attack?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a
Stroke
stroke,
first.
and, and then you have that. You know, how did you when you because you know a lot of times people are like, well, you know, I just prayed and I was like, yeah, I prayed because prayer is nothing but talking to God.
Yep.
And
Well,
I was kind of upset at it.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
was like,
That's why I said how I'm getting ready to say how long you got, because yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So this is the way, and I didn't, of course, hindsight is 2020.
Hmm.
And I kind of went through everybody, that passed away, and even in that, loss is more than losing people. The church I had been a part of for a long time was in that between 2000 and my granddaddy in 2000 and my mom in 2020. In those 20 years, I had a whole lot of loss. As a matter of fact, my therapist had me to go through them, and I think it was 27 losses. It was either 20, I think it was 27. And
Okay.
so, in all that time, different types, but I will say 1 through 26, I kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. But when my mom died,
Stopped you. It stopped you. Same here.
I stopped breathing. I mean, really, like, I really, it was a, and I did. My mom passed in 2020. My stroke was in 2022. But I do believe I was still grieving. I was still, and then of course I have a brother, like I said, that's 21 years younger than me, and I'll never forget him asking me the day mom passed. When I got back to the house, he said, because my grandmother had passed right before my mom, and he said, "I don't think mommy, um, ever got over Granny passing." And I said, "Well, that's a real thing." And he looked at me and he said, "Do you think we're gonna be okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna be okay." So then I had that weight on my shoulder too, of trying to make sure my brother was okay. Um, so I didn't realize the abyss I was going down into. And
Hmm.
it was the stroke that woke me up. I didn't realize how depressed I was. I didn't realize any of it because number one, I've always been made to kind of keep going, keep pushing. I prayed, of course, and I had people telling me, "You really seem like you're doing really well, with your mom's stuff." And I give them some answer. I don't even know what the answer was. But I did not know internally what was going on. And
Internally, you were
I was shutting down.
it was like getting hit by Mike Tyson. Like you was out,
Yep.
and you
Yep.
kept. It's like
Absolutely.
you kept trying to pull up to the rope, and
Yep.
like, no, we good. We
And
gonna be all right. We
yep.
gonna.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But then day
Absolutely.
by day, the, the food don't taste the same. The air don't.
Absolutely.
You can't
Absolutely.
breathe the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it wasn't until I really did, I had to get a therapist. I was like, I can't. I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm praying. I'm talking to God. I don't know, but I don't know how to practically get through this.
Say that. Say that again. Say that again.
I don't know how to practically
Right.
get through this.
The reason I
And
wanted to go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't
no, no,
want.
no. I'm just gonna say so. My therapist was. I had to find a therapist,
The reason
and
I
she
asked
helped me
you.
dig.
The reason I asked you to say that because when I interviewed Bishop Cortez Vaughn, he
Mm-hmm.
was the first one. He said he used therapists, and he was like, he told me, he said, what you're going through, he said, you're having a panic attack
Yes.
because
Yeah.
what your mother gave you, you
Yeah.
can't find it in the earth now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you are panicking because you're seeking
Yeah.
it, you can't
Yeah.
find it. And it,
Yep. I always equate when losing a mother, and I have this
mhm,
ain't real yet. I'm still researching this.
mhm,
But you know how when you're born, they cut the umbilical cord?
you lost the connection.
And I think it's some kind of spiritual umbilical cord that is cut when your mother passes away. My dad had died in 2008. I kept on breathing. And I know, no, I'm just joking,
I
but
know,
I
no,
miss my
no,
dad, of
trust
course.
me, I know what you
But
mean.
there's not a connection that you have with anybody else in the world like your mother.
Comedian Carlos Miller, I think, said it best. He said the reason when your mother died is different because you lost how you came here, how you got here,
Yes,
the
yes,
connection of how you
absolutely,
got here.
absolutely.
Now,
Has been
now
taken away.
I tell you what is weird, and I know you can attest to this. And there's also, like you said, 26 losses, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
see, when your mother passed, your father had already passed. So guess what?
Yep.
Now you have no parent.
Orphan, orphan. Yep. It's
Weird
that.
place to
Yeah.
be in. Weird, weird.
Yes,
It's a
I tell.
weird space.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes, yes.
because guess what happens now? Let me take you back to the 90s
Okay.
when we met.
Okay.
Let me take you back
Uh
to the
huh.
90s.
Uh huh.
Yato, Yato, he slay me, yet will I
Yeah,
trust him.
well, I trust him. Uh huh.
Oh, see,
Hmm.
we quote these
Yeah.
scripts,
Oh my God.
but you ain't had to
Yeah.
live it yet. He'll be a mother to the motherless. He'll be a father
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
oh, we quoted.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we get
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to
Absolutely.
your door, now
Absolutely.
he's saying
Absolutely.
for me, God says now you don't have a go between. You got to come see me now. Just you and I. You can't call
Yep.
mama. You can't
Yep.
ask daddy nothing. You can't
Yep.
get in the bed with grandmama. I was sleeping. I was sleeping
That's
with
right.
my grandmama.
Yep.
I was grown. I
Yep.
was still sleeping with my grandmama.
No, I understand that. Yep.
So
Yep.
like you said, when that security blanket is gone,
Yes.
now the
Yeah.
reality is he's saying you got to come see me directly.
Yeah.
Don't don't call nobody to pray for you. Don't I want to
Yep.
talk to Holis. I want to talk to
Yep.
Teresa. Just you and
Yeah.
I. Kind
Yeah.
of like they said, come get some. God has said, come
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
some.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
but see, all our lives, we thought we were walking with Him. Like but the reality is you kind of walking, but it's like your mother, your father. You got people still kind of
Mm-hmm.
in,
Mm-hmm.
and
In
when those
between.
in
Mm-hmm.
between. Thank you. And when they're
Mm-hmm.
gone,
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Now tell me
Yeah.
what's wrong." Not
Yeah.
because you
Yep.
can't tell anybody. You gotta tell
Absolutely.
Him.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
when you
Absolutely.
mention therapists, um, I'm glad you when you use the word practical because
Hmm.
that's what Bishop Cortez said to me. He said the problem is with the body of Christ, the church, is that we haven't given tools to
Yes.
know how to
Correct.
practically
That's
do
right.
something. So what happens
Absolutely.
is Teresa
Absolutely.
wouldn't know how she feel. Teresa wouldn't know what she's
Hmm.
going through. The
Yep.
problem is she don't know what to do with that, so she's still sitting in it.
Yep.
And it's like, how do
Absolutely.
I take the steps?
Or and or not or, but
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
she doesn't even know how to articulate how she feels.
Okay. Okay.
She don't even know how. She don't even know what the feeling because normally, you know, she and this is no disrespect, but she putting it under the blood. And though that's right,
Hmm.
you're still feeling it. And you got to be able to articulate what you're feeling, how you're feeling. How do you get there? Do you feel this way all the time? Or do you feel this way? But I wasn't even in tune with my body because had I been, first of all, I wouldn't have gotten to explosion. But I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Oh, no, because that was my way. Well, you can't push your way through this one. And you gotta name what it is you're feeling, how
Hmm.
you're feeling. That was very difficult for me. My therapist would ask me something. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, you're gonna give me an answer. You're gonna have to give me an answer. But I kept saying, I don't know. She was like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You gotta tell me what you feel. If you're mad, you're sad, you gotta tell me there is an emotion that you are going through.
Was that
And you
hard?
gotta tell me,
Was
hmm?
that hard for you? Like if you're
Yes.
mad to admit that you were mad.
Yeah, yes. And I'm gonna tell you, that goes back to when I talked about serving
Mm-hmm.
and cowering back to things that I should have said.
Mm-hmm.
That it had become part of my personality, and I didn't realize that. And part of that's because I grew up with my grandparents, who you didn't say nothing. You did go on the child, go in there and do what I said, and I didn't. I wasn't able to voice how I was feeling. So I realized that I was carrying that. I carried that way of living until I was forced to deal with it. And I started thinking, I was like, you took out them spiritual formation classes and all of that. Like what? But I don't think I ever went underground. I think I always stayed on the surface because the surface was was easy for me to manage. So I learned how to say things
Mm-hmm.
and I learned how to do things and all of that, but you got to dig deeper. Got
Let
to
me
dig
ask you
deeper.
this. Let me ask you this. Was it we're in church
Mhm.
and I don't know. It could be a prophecy or it could be just a spirit at that time in the service, and
Mhm.
they're calling for somebody's got an issue, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and instead of you knowing,
I'm gonna be on. I'm gonna be on the. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna go in front of the people. I'm not gonna be one of the people. I'm gonna go
that's
to
where I was
help the
going.
people.
That's where I was
Yeah.
going because
Yeah.
now it's excuse me. I'm too busy.
Mhm.
I'm serving right now. I'm trying. I'm ministering,
That's right.
and God is
That's
saying,
right.
"No, you
Mhm.
one of them people."
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're too you're too
Busy.
no, not busy.
Too
What
busy.
you too well, yeah, you're too busy showing that you are a minister, and and he's like, no, you're broken right now, and
Mhm.
I can't fix it because you and then he
Cause
has
you won't
a
yield
way
to it.
of oh, like, all right, well, go ahead then. Like he'll say, "Go, I meet you down here. I'm trying to meet you right here, but you don't want to meet
Mhm.
right here. So we'll meet. All right, we'll meet down the street. We gonna meet."
Look, we gonna meet. Let me tell you something I think is so funny. So after I went through something at my former church, and I didn't go to church for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was out. I was like, y'all don't have this. And I realized that was because I wasn't serving God, I was serving man. So when man let me down, then I didn't know what to do with that. I just was like, ain't none of this real. Just I mean, just so dramatic.
I
But
know.
still, I was out for 3 years. I did not go. I went, here and there. If one of my friends was preaching, I may go hear them. But nah, I wasn't doing that. So I went to Tim's church. We just talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And of course, I could still hear God, but
Mm-hmm.
I was just choosing not to hear. I just was like, no, no, no. We'll talk about that later, God. It's just give me a minute. This is me telling God, give me a minute. And I was coming out of I said I would go to church because my friend Marsha was preaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll just go and serve. I'll drive you. We lived around the corner from each other. I said, I'll drive you out there. I want to go anyway. I want to support you, ministry. So I got in the car, I got in, she came in my car, got in the car, drove her. I said, I'll serve you. Because that's what I'm used to doing. I'll serve you. We get to the church, she preaches, everything is nice. We get ready to go. And Tim says to me, hey, he was looking for his musician and he had the check for his musician. And I said, "Oh, I'll take it to him." I've been to his church over and over again. I run out,
Mm-hmm.
run. The door is right here, and the window is right here. I ran smack into the window. Boop, fell out.
Mm.
Looked like Sophia on The Color Purple.
That's so fair.
Ha! Like I was. I was out too.
Okay.
Um, And I what's so crazy is when I came to and we got
Mm-hmm.
ourselves together. And it was God. That was God trying to get my I have so many examples of him trying to get my attention. So I know God loves us. He is long suffering
Mm-hmm.
because there were so many times he was just trying to get my attention. I know he was like, now this child done run into a window. I still wasn't listening. I still didn't. I was like, nah. So then it took once my mom passed, because that was back in 2011, 12, something like that. It took that to help to finally put some brakes on it and me say, I yield, I yield. What you want me to do? What you want me to do? What? And in that moment, what has come from that is I believe stuff that I should have done a long time, gone back in school. It's just things that I was like, I know he probably like, you could have been done this a long time ago. All this, you would have been much further along. But you're redeeming the time. But having to really look inward was just very difficult. And again, like you said, everybody had to be gone. Because if not, I would, I'd be gonna call my grandma. What am I acting right? Do I seem like I'm strange? Or asking other people what they thought? And God was like, why won't you ask me?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I'm learning. I'm yet learning.
No, no, still here. We all evolve. We all.
Sure.
I'm in this walk because God could be to the right of you, but trust me, he's just not gonna stay there.
Yeah.
He gonna go to the
Yeah.
left because he has to show you something new.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you and I can't box him in,
Yeah.
thinking,
Absolutely.
"Oh, I got you, God. I know you." Like, no,
I
no,
know I got you, God.
I'm going over here. You better come on. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and like I started this podcast in 2020. I thought it was going to just be a sports show. So my first, not my first. My first guest was comedian Marcus D.Y. That was my
Oh,
first
okay.
guest.
Mm-hmm.
My second guest, how God blew me away, was Bill Dukes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bill Dukes. My second guest.
Whoa.
I really don't have no fan. I ain't got nothing to really send you. And my second interview, I got Bill Dukes. And then from there, I went to Carvin Winans.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So like I was like, what was? So it became where now it's not about sports. And then who you was talking about, Apostle, our friend Tim Fry, my old roommate.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I forgot about that part.
Tim and
I
Pete roommate with
Yep.
me.
I forgot about
And
that part.
God told me to call. First, I called Tim to interview Tim.
Hmm.
Then I called Tim. I was doing a thing called Testimonies. And I had Tim, I had Ernest Thomas, aka Roger Thomas from What's Happening.
Hmm. Yeah.
Then we had Paul Anthony from Full Force, and then our
Yeah.
author Janet Aguar.
Uh,
And Tim blew everybody out the water. I mean, because you had Paul Anthony talking about overcoming cancer,
yeah.
Janet talking about overcoming marrying a football player, and then 24 hours he wants out the marriage, like
Wow.
crazy.
Wow.
Ernest talking about drug addiction.
Yeah.
Where Tim blew everybody away, he said, "You don't know how messed up it is to go to the graveyard and see
Yep.
your name
Yeah.
because of little Timmy."
Yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
it was. I ain't no way it
Yeah.
was going because so
Yeah.
everyone. That's why I said everyone has a unique story, and sometimes you think you know and you don't know. And so, like, I didn't know, that you had a stroke, and to be, laying back, laying on your back.
Let me tell you something. This picture that you
Hmm.
got up,
Hmm.
my first time preaching post stroke.
were you fitting, but I didn't know fitting, but I didn't know. I told you when he told me to do something, I just do. I don't be.
My
See, I
first
didn't know
time.
that.
When as we were talking, I'm like, this is when I preached the first time post stroke.
How was that?
And I was so nervous. It was actually it was fine. The only thing,
No, no, I'm talking about here. Were
yeah, that's
you
a yeah.
were you nervous to get excited? Like if you preaching the
I was
word,
nervous to leave that iPad.
okay.
I was. I was. I mean, I had everything written on that iPad. Turn to your neighbor and say that's on there. Take a praise break. All of that is on was in that manuscript because I was afraid I was gonna forget what I was saying or what I was talking about. Or and I was and not that I was afraid if I veered off,
Mm,
I would forget my train of thought,
okay.
and so I wouldn't veer. I wouldn't, but I mean, it turned out perfectly fine as the Lord would have it. But I was very nervous. I was very nervous.
When did
Yeah.
you when did you realize that God wanted didn't want you always in the back, but He wanted
I'm
you up front?
now because that's why I'm say that's why I'm comfortable. That's just where I am, and that's where I'm comfortable.
So let me ask this. Let me ask this. Is that where you comfortable, or is it where you thought other people also thought that's where you should be? So
Well,
just
'cause I think that, and I also had a great insecurity of what I could do. I was very insecure. And I'm just not realizing that that's what that was. Literally, I just typed that a few minutes ago in the paper that I was typing, that I was
mm,
very insecure about this call. And I just was like, because I felt like I can't do it like that. Or it's not going to come out like that. Or I can't, so I was like, surely not me. And I know all the Bible stories where other people said, surely not me, and it was, but I didn't think it was me. And so because what I could see, and again where I felt comfortable, was I was like, I will just support the men and women of God. I can do that. I can do that with my eyes closed. But this thing right here, I'm having to trust God. I'm having to trust God on this, on this. So, like, even in school,
mm,
we had to preach. I took a preaching class, and we
mm,
had to do um a pastoral message, and then we had to do a social justice message. And you would have thought it was my first time preaching. Now, the other reason for that was because I told you about the stroke, and then May of this year, I had to have a double surgery. One, my thyroid, and what was going on is I had a goiter that had grown, but it was growing down.
okay.
So what sometimes you see goiters that are protruding out of people, out
Mm,
their neck. This was
mm,
growing down. It had moved my heart over. It had moved my
mm,
trachea over. And I didn't know it. I was in the ER one day because my blood pressure was up high. And the doctor came back and was saying, we haven't gotten your blood pressure down, Miss Pryor, but we're working on it. But it looks like the mass is pretty much the same. And I said, what mass? What are you talking about? And she said, you don't know? You have a mass in your chest? No.
mm,
She said, nobody. I said, no, I don't. And so what happened was when I had the stroke, they had taken some image and they had captured it, but because they weren't looking for that, they were looking for something else. It was in there, but nobody red flagged it,
nobody
nothing.
said nothing.
Yeah, and so 2 years later, because this is in 2024, 2 years later, I found out I got this mass. So then they started all these tests and stuff. Of course, you got to make sure you can do biopsy, all that. And my then they finally sent me to a thoracic. They sent me to an ENT, and he was like, "This is out of my jurisdiction. I can't even get to this." So they had to cut my sternum, break my sternum open, and that's a thoracic surgeon that does that and get the girders out. Like I said, it had gone down into my chest cavity. Okay. But I say that because when I got up to preach, I sound very good right now. But maybe about a month or so ago,
Hmm.
my voice was very raspy. And what I can't do is I can't project. I still don't have the ability. We still working on projecting. So I was nervous about preaching. And that was the actually that was the assignment. And I'd already told my professor, look, I may not be able to do this, but he said, well, let's try and we're gonna see what happened. I did it. I did it. And I have a friend he's like, because this is what you are. He said, God's got his hands on you, Teresa, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it's those type of confirmations that help me believe, oh, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe, okay, okay. But again, I prefer being in the back. But it's not until people call you and be wanting you on their podcasts and stuff that you be like, oh, wait a minute, what you do? Okay, all right, you know. So this was another confirmation for me. I was just like, what is he? What do he? What? So I'm just like, okay.
Like I said,
It's just a yielding process at this point. So that's where I
I had no idea. I just, when my ears burn, I just have to move. No,
am.
that's what happened. Like literally, my ears will burn, and to
Wow.
get them to stop burning,
You gotta
then
do what you wow. No, I
yeah,
believe that.
okay,
I
yeah,
believe it.
yeah.
I believe
So
it.
so the you don't need. Let me say this: you don't need confirmation. He's
Mhm.
already um, spoken. You've gone through some things that one, you know he's with you because only he can have you to survive the things that you have survived mentally and physically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he just tells you something to move, he's just waiting on you just to move now.
Yep.
You don't need like his he just wants you to rely on his word that he's telling you, not what he's
Yeah.
saying to you.
Yeah. I
He
believe that.
he ain't looking for you now to look for signs and wonders or out of two or three people, yay and
Yeah.
eight. He ain't looking for you
I
to
agree.
move off that anymore. He's looking for
I
you to
believe
say,
that.
I spoke.
I
And
believe that.
Miss oh, I'm so mad I'm forgetting her name right now. Oh my gosh. Um Miss Pat Grisby. Thank you, Lord.
Yes. Yeah.
When I interviewed her, and
Oh, you interviewed Miss Pat. My
and
Miss Pat.
a part of me is hurt because a little part of me is kind of upset, only because I didn't know she was going through what she was going through, and that was going to be like it, right? Like,
Hmm.
just, I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. But
Yeah.
she talked about getting up and getting dressed for the Lord, just one on one,
Wow.
just just one on.
Wow.
She would get whatever that time frame would be with her
Yeah.
and the Lord, and just I just it. That's one of the things she said to me that just always say.
Wow.
Now, for me, when he wants to talk and I'm not listening, then he won't let me sleep.
Hmm.
Because I'll get up, my wife be like everything. I say, yeah, he won't talk right now. I gotta go. I go downstairs or something because and
Yeah.
I have been up and then got back in the bed thinking it's over. And all
Hmm.
right, let me get back up there. He
Hmm.
evidently
Hmm.
he ain't. But what he will do is that he could have you up for 6 hours and you get three
Yeah.
hours of sleep, but he'll rest
Mhm.
you in his bosom. You'll feel like you still got 8 hours.
Yep. That is the
So
truth.
yeah, so
And
so.
that's one of the things that's happening for school with me
Hmm.
because of course I just came through surgery and I'm still healing. And then I'm taking these classes and I go to work every day. And I was like, Lord, there's no way in the way. It would be days that I just would be tired. Like I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I gotta go sleep. And I would sleep. And I would feel like I am going to be so far behind in my work because I went to sleep. But I had to go to sleep because I wasn't going to be able to do nothing else. And then he will some kind of way redeem that time in a way where I get up. So, one of the teachers that moved the deadline for when the paper is due back a week. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, thank you. Or I'm able to get through something much quicker than I thought, I was going to be able to do it. And so though it's those kind, that's when I say confirmation to me, those are confirming, that confirms just as much for me. Because he just keeps making a way for me to get it done. And might I say, my
Hmm.
first year I was on the dean's list.
All right.
So then I'm like, are you kidding me? What? I didn't even know it. I was still recuperating, and somebody actually sent me the picture that they had posted. I said, get out of here. So it's those things that just keep me going because I be like, I'm sleepy. I'm old. And I tell people all the time, I said, listen, get my song is get this done when you're young. Get it done when you're young, because it ain't the same trying to do it when you got to go to work. When you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying, it's much
yeah.
harder when when you have all these other responsibilities. And so I was like, listen, I needs my sleep.
Now this question I'm about to ask you,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't mean that you're supposed to be. So I don't want you to think I'm saying you're supposed to be. All right.
Ain't no way he can really say Jesus. Let me get myself ready.
Now,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
are you not married because guys don't know what to do with you? And when I mean what to do with you, they don't know how to take you.
Well, now honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Um, I believe in me and God. We talk about this a lot. There was this one guy who I was dating years back. But I do believe, and I don't know, I don't live in, I wish I had but I do think about it sometimes. And so I wasn't ready to be married then. But
Mm.
when I think about it, I was like, now that would have been a good dude. I probably should have said, I should have done right back then. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because later in life, I served to the detriment of my life.
Okay.
I understand giving your life. I understand that, but I did it to the detriment. So I remember when I left my previous church, and my family said, I think we got her back. That was the most disheartening thing I had ever heard, because it should not be that I gotta necessarily that my family feels like I'm not there for them because of, but they were like, well, you always was busy, you was always. And I believe there's a balance that you can do both. But
Yeah.
because of the way I was serving, I think, and that's what I mean by to the detriment of
I know what
myself,
you mean.
I think I didn't put, I mean, you gotta be found. And I could have been found gleaning in the field. But I just wasn't. And I ain't happy about it. But
Well,
it is what it is. But it is what it is now. Because I don't. What I know is that I can't trust this, what
hmm,
God has inside of me, to
hmm.
anybody.
Oh,
They're gonna have
well,
to
you're not supposed
know.
to. No, you're
Yeah,
not.
they got to know what to do with what God has put inside of me. And so, I think that I make myself available, ready. I don't come out of the house with no head rags and stuff on. I try to keep it, you know, all pulled together. But I just gotta I have to wait on God at this point now.
Well,
And I
well,
and I
like
go
I said,
ahead.
no, I wasn't. I wasn't saying, and I know you're not. I know you're not. But I wasn't saying it in a way of like, how some people say, "Why you ain't married?" Not in that way, like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, she got to have a man. She got to be married," because
Mm-hmm.
everybody may. Some people are not meant to be married.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, it ain't always cracked up to be. I love my wife now. Don't get me wrong. I ain't
all my
trying to go
friends,
nowhere.
all my friends say the same thing, so I
But
do understand.
But the reason I asked that question, but see, you and I came through an era where, and I had this conversation with First Lady Crossland,
Okay.
and I said back in the day, man, I said you couldn't be around you and John, and you can't be around you and Tanya and Jamie.
Yes,
I
yes.
said, y'all made it hard to be single, man. You trying to live right. Y'all over there making
all
googly
up under
eye.
each other. All
Well,
up under each other.
I said, next thing you know, you force a brother to pick up the phone. Hold on, let me go down. Let me see here. Ain't this, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
I said, y'all, I said, but, and she couldn't help but laugh. And, but, sometimes, and I'm glad you did not settle, uh,
Mhm.
because you rather be by yourself than settle. But I wonder sometimes, I said this to Erica Gimple, who played Coco on the TV show Fame.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
said, people don't know what to do with you. They don't know how to take you, do they? And
Mhm.
she looked at me like, how he know? And because you run across some people
Mhm.
and just in
Yep.
conversation that if a person is not coming honestly, right?
Yep.
They don't
Yep.
know. They're trying to figure out how to play you, but they don't know how to
Yep.
play you because they don't even know how to approach you.
Let me
So,
tell you, I've got these. I've had a couple, maybe in the past year or so.
mhm,
Um, all these people from the past, they come up, and so this is what I hear that I was the one I should have. You were always the one I didn't know what I had. Blah 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 blah. And I'd be looking at them like, well. But I wondered. I said, I wonder what what makes people. Well, I guess life,
mhm.
but because I told one, I said, well, it's good to know 30 years later that I should have been, I was the one. I said, because you sure didn't act like it back then. But I wonder what is it. He was the one that said to me, he said, you was smart. He
That
said,
was.
you know what?
I'm sorry.
He's like, well, you were smart. You were in school.
Mhm.
You were, all the other stuff he was naming or whatever. And I was just thinking, and he said, and I didn't know what to do with all that. And sometimes I just, like, I look at people like, what? That is the crazy. But I guess I don't get it. I just be looking at him like, oh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
well, well, we'll see what happens is, um, not all men, but some men, when I say intimidated, I
Hmm.
mean that in a way of, I don't know, this is a beautiful person. She has a
Hmm.
beautiful spirit. She has a beautiful soul. But in my head, that person, in their
Hmm.
head, they're thinking, this is how I'm going to structure my family,
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
wife. This is structured.
Hmm.
And so they miss out because that
I
ain't
don't fit that box.
Shay. Shay Simpson told me 90 something, sitting on Covenant Drive. And she said, you're not going to marry who you think you're going to marry.
Wow.
That's what she told me.
Wow.
Now, my wife was married at the time.
Hmm.
The lady under me was her ex-husband's aunt.
When you
She,
say under you, what you mean when you said it later under
I,
you?
I lived on the
Oh, okay. You said on your
third
house. Okay, okay.
floor.
I mean in your apartment.
Yeah,
Okay.
the apartment. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
lived on the third floor. she lived. My wife's ex husband lived under me.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Her ex husband's uh,
Mm-hmm. Uh.
aunt lived under me, and she knew my next door neighbor.
Mm.
Never saw my wife. Never,
Wow.
never
Wow.
until the day I saw her knocking on my next door neighbor. And then
Wow.
I said, he's not going to come to the door. I said, hold on, let me did my little knock. My friend
Mm-hmm.
Anthony came to the door, and he
Mm-hmm.
and his wife Rose came to the door. I walked back into my apartment. I look at Key. I said, hold on, I'll be right back. And this,
Wow.
now, let me show you how what Shay was saying, you're not going to marry who you think you're going to marry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my wife don't mind me say this because I say this all the time, but it's true. But it's just amazing how God works.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, not her. Keep in mind, this is my thinking. This is my thinking.
Yes.
The oldest thing.
Yes.
She gonna be a one night stand. This my.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We've been married 26 years.
One big old night.
26 years, three
Woo.
children, five grandchildren.
Wow. Oh, it is. Wow.
So you know when they say tell God your plans, if you want to make him laugh, say- he looking at me like, oh, he think he gonna. Oh, okay,
Wow.
I got something for him.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when I say I don't know how I got here, I don't know how I got
Wow.
here. I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't know. So
Yeah.
so so when you guys sometimes have in their head that Teresa is not like what the gentleman was saying. She's
Mm-hmm.
nice. She's did, but because he has a certain thing in his head, how he's going to structure his family, whatever in his head, then he's
Mm-hmm.
looking at you. He like, but it's like you don't fit the
Mm-hmm.
image
Isn't it? I
of,
don't fit that box.
that,
Yep.
that box. And now sometimes he goes back and said, you know what, that would have been I should
Pretty
have.
much like I said, like that first one. I was like, I probably should have married him. He's a nice dude working in the Pentagon. He probably need to get out of there now, but uh but I mean, I get and I do. I get that. But I am not married because I don't want to be. I don't know what God is doing. I just told him, okay. Now,
Yeah,
okay.
like I said, that was just because I just think just sometimes when God has a good woman and she's in the midst of doing what the work that he's calling her to do, such as
Mm-hmm.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you you just gotta run into that person that sees it but yet understands it
Yeah.
because you can see it. But
Yeah.
if you understand it, you just keep going.
Yeah.
Because then
Absolutely.
and then like
Absolutely.
you said, the balance. And that's why I said when God speaks to you, just believe him. You ain't gotta wait on nothing else. Just
I don't need no other
just
confirmation. No writing
well
on the
no,
wall.
but well, I think God is letting you know that you've always heard him. It's just that you didn't want to move from the back. And what he was saying was, I had you in the back to train you, but now I'm releasing you. You got to
Yeah.
come out. You got to come from back there,
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for you to do it. Listen, Lamar said something. I told you, Lamar said it never been about us individually. It's
Right.
always
Yeah.
been about him. So if you know it's about him, right? Then when he's putting you out front, don't worry about it because what? It ain't about you no way.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
asking you to show up. He gonna do the rest.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Physically, I just need you
Absolutely.
here. I'm
I
gonna
need a
show up.
vessel.
Right. It ain't. Trust me. It ain't gonna be you. You ain't drawing nobody to Christ. That's me. I'm drawing them. I'm drawing them to
That's
me.
right.
I
No,
just
you're
need.
right.
Yeah. So if you grab hold of that,
Hmm.
then just you'll go forth.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I want to ask you before I let you go is you talked about to the detriment, serving, and that I think that just come out of the era that we were
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
in. You were just used to people serve. Oh, every time church doors open, I got to be there. I got to, you know.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, what would from the '90s to where you are now? What has God shown you about your relationship with Him?
Ooh, that's a good one. Mhm. Probably the first thing that comes to mind is, and I think I said it a few minutes ago, his long suffering slash consistently being dependable. That even when God can't depend on me, I can always depend on him.
Right.
And I have seen that over and over and over again until I try that. I think this is a thing when we say we want to be Christ like. For me,
Hmm.
that's one of the things, like, I know how much God has shown up for me. It makes me want to show up for myself and for others. So I think that that's probably I've never known anybody to be, and I won't find anybody else, but I've never known anybody to be as dependable as God. And like I said, it's even when we're not, when we don't, when we're not dependable, He is so faithful. And I think that for me has carried me and kind of and brought me to this point. Um, just really believing with with all of my being in God, with everything, like everything. Like even when I had to go and do the litigation for the thing here, I had never done litigation before. And I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, and this church is in my hands. Like, that was a very scary day for me. I just had a lot of trepidation about it. And I got in there and the Lord told me what to say. And when I said it, it broke the person that we were there that was there with us, the mother, it broke her down. And I sat there and looked at her like, I mean, broke her to where she was crying. And so I am just learning how to really, all of what you've been saying, really trust in God. The biggest lesson I learned when I left my prior church, um, is that my trust was in man and it was not in God. I was serving me. I was serving man, and it wasn't. I didn't set out to do that, and I wasn't trying. It's just it was what I knew, and
I see.
and it wasn't. I wasn't trying to diss God or none of that. It's just that my allegiance was to people versus God. I forgot about the God of the work. I was
Right.
working, but I forgot about the God of the work, and so just having someone in my life that I can trust and depend on like that, that is another reason why I could possibly make it difficult for people, for guys.
Not really.
Because
Not really.
okay, good. Thank you for telling me that. But I often think about that because I'm like, this is where I am with God. It can't go back. Like it's got to go forward. So you got to bring this to the. And I'm not expecting you to be God, but I am expecting it can't get worse. Like
The
we gotta
reason I
move forward.
the reason I say that before I let you go is because my wife. I tell my wife this often. I say you may not quote scriptures,
Hmm.
but you
Hmm.
live it. And
Hmm.
what people who quote unquote know the word, doesn't hadn't figured out yet. He wants you to live it. He don't
Yeah. Yeah.
all that quote.
Absolutely.
That's fine. That's good.
Absolutely.
But are you
Absolutely.
living what I taught you? So
Absolutely.
I say that to say that I've watched my wife when people have mistreated her. I've watched her
Hmm.
be there for them in their time of need.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yep.
when we were in our 20s, I used to be like, "Child, I ain't that good a Christian." And I had to, and then she's a giver. I think I'm
Hmm.
the only person, I think I'm the only man that married his mother and his father.
Wow.
One
Wow.
minute, one minute, working and as far as keeping the house clean
Hmm.
and doing all that stuff.
Hmm.
Just
Hmm.
see, like I clean if I see the dirt. I got to see it first. She cleaned to prevent the dirt.
That's right. That's
Right.
exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly
So
right.
that's my daddy. That's not my mama. That's my daddy. My mother is the giving part, the forgiving
Hmm.
part, the big
Yeah.
heart. That's so,
Yeah.
so I've got, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like my father, she can't sit still. Like she'll just go start cleaning. And I'm like, you just, you know what, you just bored.
Yeah.
You just
You
got
just
to
need,
find
you want
something
something
to do.
to do. You want
Yeah.
to do something.
So so she will give me stuff and it's the word. You know, it's clearly
Hmm.
the word,
Yeah.
but she lives it. Do you know
Yeah.
this man Bob? We used to Bob Arline, my sister in law's father, was like a
Hmm.
father to her. So I called him my father in law. We went shop. He got to the point where he couldn't drive himself to the store. So every
Hmm.
Friday we would go to his house, get the money, and go grocery shopping for him.
Hmm.
We did it so long that I can't tell you how long we did it, and I can't tell you when we did it.
Wow.
That's how long we did
Wow.
it every Friday.
Wow.
But what she would do if that Kroger's didn't have what he wanted,
Hmm.
she would tell him, you know, take him to groceries, she would tell him. But if we were out and about and just happened to be in
Hmm.
Kroger's and saw it,
Hmm.
she would
Yeah.
buy it.
Absolutely.
She would
Absolutely.
buy it and take it to him. And then when he would try to
Absolutely.
bless us and say, "No,
Hmm.
you need gas money," wouldn't take a dime.
Hmm.
To the
Hmm.
point, my wife had shoulder uh, 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 rotator cuff
Rotator cuff. Hmm.
in the store
Hmm.
just like this, in the arm with a sling after the surgery, a week after the surgery, shopping for. See what I'm saying? A
Ah,
gift. So I say
yeah.
that to say the right guy will understand, and then if he's
Hmm.
smart enough, because it took me a
That's
while.
the part right there, though.
It took me a while. I wasn't smart enough. It took me a while. You you gotta
Ah,
listen and pick up because some what God will do is teach you through your mate.
yeah, I
He'll
do
teach
believe
you,
it.
and
Hmm.
so no, don't think that the way you are or the calling on your life it will prevent a guy. The smart man will realize that this is the woman I need. This is the woman that's
Hmm.
going to enrich me, multiply, and this is I'm going to add to her life.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's going.
That's one and I'll give Pastor Dr. Tony Alvarado said that to me years ago. She was like, um, when when a guy sees that you, how did she say it? She said when a guy understands the necessity of having you in his life, that's when it'll come. And I get what that means. And she was like, because she was like, guys just work differently. And so they, when they see how you benefit them, or how you're going, how you could benefit them, or how they believe you're going to be. She said, then they something happens when they see that this is gonna, she will make my life better in this regard or in this regard, this regard, and I can make hers better in this regard. But they gotta see that, be able to see that. She said they're not gonna just jump the jump, but they will when they see how they can navigate you within their boundaries and they you, then they'll I said, but you know how long ago that was? I think I was 15 when she told me that.
That's
I'm
all right.
just kidding.
That's all
I
right.
wasn't 15. I
I
wasn't
know you weren't
15,
15.
but
You weren't 15 when I met you. So I know you weren't 15. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but you know.
but and here's I am content in waiting, and we'll just see what
Yeah.
happens. We just see
We'll
what
see what
happens.
happens. We'll see
Yeah, I'll
what
give it to God. I'll give it to God. So yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
thank
feel
you
like I've
for.
been on the phone with you.
I told you how the interview goes. But thank you for coming on the show, blessing me with your presence,
Absolutely,
your story.
absolutely.
Um,
Thank
I'll
you for
cut a,
having me.
I'll cut a clip, just a snippet. I'll drop it tomorrow, and then a couple of
Hmm.
weeks I'll put the full interview out. So, thank you for enriching. I hope it's been a blessing to you.
It
And keep
has. I
doing.
hope I hope you get something out of it. We just I feel like we just sit here talking.
That's how I interview. That's how we get. That's how we gonna do it. That's all. That's all we're gonna do is just talk. But I want to have you
Absolutely.
back on the show. And when I have people back on the show, I always partner them up with someone else.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Anytime,
Uh,
anytime. I didn't know. First of all, let me just say,
mm,
I didn't know how the oldest was out here doing big things for God. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So, I think I may have mentioned it to Belinda, and I think Tim must have told her that he had been on the show or something, and we just talked about how um you just never know what God's going to do in a person's life. So I just want to commend you
thank you.
for doing what he said do. I mean, there are people who go their entire life and don't do it. And they don't get to reap the harvest and the benefits of doing what God has said for them to do. And so I just want to commend you. I'm like, okay, oh, this is interview. Lord have mercy. But I'm super proud of you, like a
Thank
big
you. Thank
sister,
you. Thank
for
you.
just stepping out there and doing what God told you to do. And I pray and hope that He'll continue to open the doors
Thank
as you need them, to get
you.
anybody you want on your show.
He's the booking agent. I can tell you that. He's the booking
He the
agent.
book, he the booking agent.
What did I tell you? I said the second interview I ever did was Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Didn't nobody
yeah.
didn't nobody do that but him.
That's amazing. That's
Didn't nobody
amazing.
do
So
that but
yeah,
him. Yeah. So
I'm just very and then I got to see, I think when I was opening up the YouTube clip from with the Gators with Sherry Gator and stuff on there. Oh, ministers overcoming.
yeah.
Is that what it is? So is that the name
Yeah.
of the Yep.
Hmm.
And I said, okay. Okay, because that's a great um we don't necessarily have a space to talk about some of the things that we need to talk about. Um and so I say thank you for giving us space just to talk, minister to minister, and talk about some of the things even tonight.
I
Yeah,
told you I
there's
wasn't
no
gonna let you. I wasn't gonna let you be by yourself. Remember I told
yeah.
you. I said I wasn't
Yeah,
gonna let you be
God
by yourself.
just, even some things you said to me tonight, today or tonight, um, is still a part of my overcoming process. And so I think that who you bring and when you bring them has been divine because of where people are. And you help us. Sometimes talking things out is just what we need. And so even for me talking this out and making me think about some things and
It's all right.
yeah.
And that's why I told you I try to ask questions that will allow the guest to take it where God wants it to go,
Yeah,
and not
absolutely.
just quote unquote answering a question
Hmm.
that uh, I
Yeah,
I realize that, and I always say this: if I need Jesus, what makes me think somebody else doesn't?
that's right.
If
That's
He
right.
forgave me, what
That's
makes me
right.
think?
That's exactly right. That's
So
exactly right.
I always put my faults my flaws, um, thinking of the other person, and so we
Mm.
can say, okay, hey, we can have a real
Yeah.
conversation
Conversation. Yeah.
because I know that it is hard for people to leave,
Mm-hmm.
but they're
Yeah.
hurting.
Absolutely.
Hard to leave
Absolutely.
when you're hurting, and
Absolutely.
you know the people of God, they'll look at you and be like, "All right, we'll give you this week to grieve, but next Sunday you need to be on it now." And,
Yeah.
and
That's
you be
right.
sitting there like you be looking at them
That's
like
right. That's
this
right.
person actually
That's
meant
right.
something to me. What
That's
is
right.
wrong
That's
with you?
right.
So,
That is exactly right. I tell people all the time, take your time because you got to deal with whatever you're feeling. And then I want to say this from something you said, and I promise we'll get off. He who has been forgiven much loves much,
hmm
which is why I think you approach it the way you approach it because you've been forgiven much. I mean, we all have. So
yeah,
we approach things differently with an abundance of love in our heart, open up our heart to try to help somebody else because we've come that way. And we know um when I got here to this scandal, I had already been through one. So I knew what it felt like to be a person working and facing that and not having any support. So I wanted to make sure in this instance that I supported the staff, the people who needed it, because they still had to come to work. They were in front of the media every day. But it was only because I had been through that already. And I had
yeah,
been on the other side of it that I knew how to help them. So enough, enough, enough. I just wanted to say
no problem,
thank you. I just wanted to
no
say thank
problem.
you. And
Keep
thank
doing
you for
what you're
giving me the
doing.
opportunity. Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing, and we love you.
I love you too. Talk to you later.